but our old women run the cities. Listen, these
Mm.
old birds, they run our small towns. And Edna Stone is the old bird that runs Cersei. And she tells the story of her 5 marriages and how she became the matriarch of Cersei. She's in her 80s and she's decided it's not enough to just exist. She wants to really live. And to do that, she establishes a new book club. And it's made up of all these characters from Ella all the way down.
We'll talk about this and much more today. Welcome to a Writer's Day podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Writer's Day Podcast. My name is Ruth Douthit, and I'm an author of books for middle grade and adults in YA fantasy and contemporary women's stories. And now I'm writing suspense. And book 3 in my Desert Shadow Suspense series releases July 28th. So make sure you head over to Amazon and pre-order. And also head over to artbyruth.com to sign up for my newsletter so you can learn more about my upcoming projects and win a free book. That's right, I give away a free book every month. So sign up at artbyruth.com and you'll get a free PDF copy of my novella, The Letter Opener, which will give you a sampling of my writing style in the suspense genre. And if you like today's episode, please consider subscribing to me over at YouTube, my YouTube channel. Follow me on Spotify and leave me a comment. I'd love to know what you think of today's episode. Okay, let's get started. Susan Gooch is with me today, and she is the author of the Carrington series. She is a true Southern belle and sets her stories in small Southern towns. And she is a proud Southern storyteller. And I know you're going to love hearing her life story and more about this series. So you know the drill. Grab your favorite beverage, a comfortable chair, kick back and relax as we listen to Susan Gooch talk about her books. Hey everyone, welcome back to A Writer's Day. I'm so excited to have author Susie Gooch with me today. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Great. Yeah. Well, why don't we start off by having you tell my listeners about yourself, and then we'll talk about the Carrington series.
Oh, okay. Well, I am a retired educator. I was taught at school for about 15 years, and then was an administrator for 8, so 23 years in education. And then a couple of years ago, I retired to write full time. I am a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a daughter, a sister, and a friend. I absolutely am a quintessential Southern belle. I've got the blonde hair and, I like to dress up. I'm a girly girl and I love my sweet tea. I am a true Southern belle. I love writing stories about my hometown and, really just, I love the Southern lifestyle and our culture, and I like bringing that to the page and bringing that to life.
Oh, that's wonderful. And what part of the South are you from?
Well, currently I live in Searcy, Arkansas. We've been here a little over 25 years. Or interesting enough, we moved here from London, England, but that was
Wow.
because my husband and I are originally from Tennessee, and we moved quite a bit when we were first married. The first 15 years of our marriage, we moved every 2 years. And when we came here in 98 for the first time, we just fell in love with this little town. And we were moved after 3 years to Memphis. And we were there for a year and we were able to move anywhere in the world. They said, well, at that point, the internet was already starting to work and things were changing. And they said, you can live wherever you want to live. Where do you want to live? And he said, I want to go back to Searcy, Arkansas. And
Oh,
I would have never thought that. I mean, we had lived in places like Dallas, Memphis, London, and yet we chose a small town to raise our children. And it's worked out for us. All 3 of my children left home, went off to school, and they moved back to Searcy and have raised their families here. And my parents
wow.
moved here.
Your parents are there too?
Yeah, yeah. And Harold's mother moved here before she passed. So
Wow.
everybody has moved to Searcy. It's just such a wonderful place to live.
Now I want to see it because that says a lot.
Uh-huh.
If your kids come back, that's amazing. Yeah, the small town feel is it's wonderful. I would love to see it. We've driven through Arkansas, but I've never like stopped to see the small town. So
And
wonderful.
if you, one of my things that I do on my Instagram is it's called See Suze's Cersei. And I take people around the town. I show them Art Alley. I show them some of the cool things around our city because it is a historical little town. It has a historical downtown area. It has a whole alley where people come and do art.
Oh.
Just lots of little interesting things about our town. We are a college town. Um, and so I would encourage your listeners to check out my Instagram to get a view of Cersei and what it's like here.
Okay, that's a great idea. Yeah. Well, so you mentioned that you were a teacher, and I'm one of those folks who think that being a teacher is a calling, like a nurse or a police officer or, a public servant. So did you feel from a young age a calling to be a teacher?
Absolutely not. And I 100% agree with you. It is a calling. I remember my mother was a teacher for 40 something years. My
Mm.
dad told me I had to be a teacher or an accountant. That was the only way women, or a nurse. He gave me three options, and I didn't like any of those options. I was going to be an attorney, so I majored in English with every intention of going to law school. But I met my husband on a blind date at 16. We got married before when I was 20. And by the time I was ready to go to law school, I was already having a baby. So I went labor delivery instead of going to law school. But my second son had learning disabilities. And it became very apparent to me that he was not learning. And so I certified only so that if I had to homeschool him, he would be taught by a certified teacher because I
Mhm.
thought, here you've got a child that's got issues and he's going to be homeschooled by somebody who has no idea what they're doing. And so I certified only with the intention of being available to help him. And I just fell in love with it. It is a calling. I found my mission. Like I found my ministry in life is in
Mhm.
a classroom, working with children. And especially my two favorite groups to work with are the super high and the super low. To me, they have a lot of the same issues. They're just on the different ends of the spectrums. Because they're the ones that don't need the run of the mill. They need something different. And it takes a seasoned educator to be able to meet their needs. And in a classroom, we ask so much, of a teacher because we're asking them to meet six, seven different levels at one time. And so, what most teachers have to do, just from economy standpoint, is they have to teach down the middle. So then you end up teaching boring the high kids and never reaching the low kids. And so
Mhm.
for me, I loved being able to specialize. I have a master's in gifted and talented, but then I also have a master's in reading. So I could really hone down because if you can't read, you're not going to learn anything. And so for me, I was able to really work the two ends of the spectrum, and I loved that.
That's beautiful. What an inspirational story. And I agree. I was similar to you. I thought I'd be a doctor. I always wanted to be a surgeon. My mom was a nurse, and so I devoured all of her medical books all my life, and I was headed in that direction. And then I took organic chemistry in high school and found out, no, I'm not going to be a doctor. I'm more of a right brain person. And so I went into the path of being an artist and then a teacher. So very similar to yours. But I find that's beautiful that when you had children, you started to realize, hey, uh, I need to meet their needs, and that becomes, that starts at home. Whereas some parents feel like, well, no, the school will do it. The school will take care of it. But no, you felt like, no, it's my place to take care of it. And I kind of approached it that way too. As a
What?
substitute teacher, I realized, the teachers can't do everything. I have to be the teacher at home. So I made sure that I supplemented everything in the home so that I wasn't just passing everything off to the teacher. And then later on, when I became a teacher, middle school kids, I realized, like you did, this is a calling. It's not something you're going to hear the words "thank you very much." You're not going to get a pat on the back very often. So you better know your why. You better know why you're a teacher. And for me, it was just the love of inspiring students, teaching them how to write. And when you see that light bulb moment, when they
Oh,
get
absolutely. It's the
like,
best of the
ooh,
moment. It's the
but
it's
yeah,
it's
and
the chef's kiss of every educator.
exactly. And for me, I've worked with gifted children. I've done the tutoring programs for gifted and the summer, programs for the
Uh-huh.
gifted. And you're right, they have very specific needs as well. So I get it. I get exactly what you're saying.
Well, and I when you talked about that light bulb, I mean,
Hmm.
I don't think that you don't I don't feel like that I missed the opportunity to get thank yous because the thank you came from the kids.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
for me, education's all about relationships.
Hmm.
And to this day, if I go to Walmart, I could get in the car right now and drive to my closest Walmart. And I promise you, I'm going to run into somebody that I taught. Because when you teach 100 kids a year and you do that for 20 years, you're going to run into people that you know. Now,
Yes.
am I foolish enough to think that every kid loved me? Absolutely not. But I cannot tell you a week does not pass that somebody doesn't say, "Oh, Miss Gooch, are you still teaching? Oh, Miss Gooch, I loved your class. Oh, I learned so much." And so I think that
That's worth it.
that's where
That's
you
what makes it
get.
worth it, right?
And I want to be honest with you. I saved every note. I've still got them. Every note from every kid. Um, and I was a big person on, of course, I'm a writer, so words are important to me. And
Hmm.
so I was always really big about having kids write affirmations to each other and to their teachers. And I set aside class time for that. And I kept those
Oh,
because I just think that produces positive energy. And the more positive energy in a classroom, it'll permeate under the doors out into the building. And I think that's something, if nothing else, is the negative energy that is so often associated with public education. We've got to turn that. That's where we got to steer the boat. It's back to some positivity. And I think success begets success. So students have to feel that. And I taught middle school. And by sixth grade, I did not have to tell a kid they weren't the sharpest tool in the shed. They already knew it. So I had to tell the kid, you may not be the sharpest tool, but by golly, you can still garden. You can grow a garden. We can grow a garden with you. And we had to make them, you had to make them believe that they could learn and they could do.
yeah, that's true.
And because no one wants to do stuff you can't do and you don't know how to do and you're terrible at. I mean, nobody wants to do that. And I just think that in education, we did a really good job of telling people what they can't do instead of building up people and telling them, yes, you can.
That's so true. I've been in those parent-teacher conferences where, you sit with the mom and the child, and I was in the middle school team, and we had, five of us teachers staring at this child, trying to explain to them, you need to get better, you need to pay attention, you need to do this, that. And as the teachers went around, they were really focusing on the negative. So when it became my turn, I said, "Well, I'm going to start telling you the things that I've noticed that you have done right in my classroom." And the look on his face was like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, I noticed that you volunteer to go to the board more often, and you're really trying to focus on your sentence diagramming, and you come in for tutoring." And so I just went down and listed all the things that he was doing right, because all the other teachers had, like you said, told him everything that he's doing wrong. It's things like that that make a difference in a child's life.
Well, and on that note, if any teachers are listening and you're grading writing, because I was a writing teacher primarily. I taught kids to write, to find their voice. And what a gift to give a kid. I mean, when you can put
Mhm.
your thoughts on paper, you're growing yourself. And I learned very quickly. I never graded with a red pen. First of all, get rid of them, throw them away, don't buy them, don't use them. But number two, I did not mark up a student's paper with mistakes. That is an editing job, not a grading job. Okay. So it's a disrespect to their effort. So what I did was I would write three glows and one grow. Three things they did well. Glow one, glow two, glow three. You did this well, you did this. And listen, sometimes I had to dig deep. You know what I'm saying? Like you are on topic. You got a cute title. I might have given it to you, but you got it spelled correctly. Or you had a good sentence here. And then the one grow. The one thing that I think if you just do this little bit of step, this could be better. And then every time they would write, you'd pull that back out and go, remember you did well on this. Just do this again. Now let's do this. And you pull those old writings out every single time, every week when they write. And you grow those grows and those glows
Mm.
over time because then they begin to have the verbiage to know what you're talking about. When you're saying, I need more color in your writing. And they realize you literally mean color. Yeah, I do. I want you to use the word teal instead of blue. I want you to use ruby instead of red because now I'm getting a double hit from you. They don't know that. But I think so much of us as teachers, we go into jobs that the courses we teach are the ones that we liked ourselves. So we don't always understand that kids are struggling or why they're struggling. Like your organic chemistry teacher in high school probably loved organic chemistry and probably didn't have a clue why you weren't getting it.
Exactly. Oh,
Mhm.
that's great points.
Mhm.
So, how did you go from being a teacher and then an administrator, wife and mom, to a writer? What made you want to go into writing yourself now after you taught it?
Well, my degree was in English and writing. It was in a writing degree. And I actually had written a few little books, 3 books over time, but they were just written for myself. I never did anything with them. For me, sometimes it was like walking naked down Main Street to let someone read my work.
Hmm.
It was just too vulnerable. And we were moving all the time, and I didn't have time. I had a sick child, who had asthmatic, was very sick. So it's very busy. I mean, I was just really busy. And then I had my writing, my English career, I mean, my teaching career. And then one summer, my daughter, it was the summer of 2012. She and I are very close. She was going to Europe to do law school for a semester at Cambridge. And I was so sad because I was going to be with her all summer. So I decided to take that summer and write a book. And that, like 2 or 3 weeks before school got out, the we were doing testing, and the whole story came to me. Like I couldn't do anything, I couldn't write anything, I couldn't do, I mean, you just had to stand there for several hours a day and watch kids take tests. Okay, that's all you could do. So in my head, I just start writing this book. And every night after school, I would go home and I would outline what I had thought up. And then the next day, I'd think some more on it and I'd outline again. So I decided that summer I would write the story of Taylor and Greer. And it was called The Other Man, is what the book was called. And I did. I wrote that first piece of the book about Taylor and Greer's story. And every couple of days, I would send it an email to my daughter, and she would read it and send me notes back of what she thought about it. And I intended to do nothing with it. This was just to keep me from being lonesome. Isn't that terrible? That's really what I was doing. And when the summer was over, I was so sick of those people. I had written every day. I was so exhausted. I just didn't want to mess with it anymore. And I also was doing something different in education. I was starting to do administration degree. And so I kind of put that aside. Didn't think about it again until 2023. I was on a trip to up towards New Hampshire and wrote in Maine and all that area to see the leaves. And we got stuck in the Atlanta airport on the way home for about 6 hours. And I kept downloading books onto my Kindle, and they were terrible. They were terrible books. And I said to my friend who was sitting there that I've known for 20 years, these books are terrible. I wrote a book that was way better than all these. And she looks at me and she goes, she's known me for 20 years. She goes, you wrote a book? She had no idea. And I said, yeah. She goes, well, can I read it? And I went, well, I guess. So I literally pulled it out of my email and shared it with her. So all my friends that were on this trip, they start reading it and they go, Suze, this is good. You got to do something with this. So I took the next 6 months and I thought, okay, it's 2023. How do I make a book that has a politician being exposed work in 2023? Because social media in that 10 years had exploded. And I figured it out. I was going to do it in flashbacks, very similar to Daisy Jones and the Six. I was going to tell it in a flashback story. And so once I figured out how to do it, I just took off writing. And I finished the book and self-published in March of that year. And I have not looked back. I wrote then the second, that was the first book, The Carrington Affairs. And then the second book is called The Non-Negotiable. And then the third one will be out this summer. It's called The Dirty Birds Book Club.
Ooh, nice. Very nice. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. I mean, if you can't find the book that you want to read, write it. And that's what you
Exactly.
did.
And I
That's
did.
exactly, yeah. Well, that's great. And so your story, tell us about the Carrington series, starting with the first book, and give us hints about what's coming next.
Okay, so the Carrington Affairs is the story of Bennett Carrington. He is the junior senator from Arkansas. He's being vetted for the vice presidency. He's like the golden boy of Southern politics. And he's married to Taylor, who is just like almost a Jackie O kind of character. Like she's, Miss Perfect, hostess. Um, and it comes to light, though, that he has a love child that he knows nothing about. So
Mhm.
he is forced to resign and disgraced, and they keep it all quiet to protect the families. 11 years later, he wins a big case, and he is approached to run for governor. And he's like, I can't run for governor. I've got all these skeletons. I don't want to expose my family to all this. Because in the meantime, he and Taylor have divorced, and he has now married the mother of his, his baby mama, of his love child, and who is Poppy. And they say, no, it's 2023. We've had a pandemic. We've had, politicians that have been married and divorced since then. It's not a big deal. You can do this. And so they said, what we got to do is we got to get your ex-wife, your current wife, and your love child to tell the story in such a way that we can spin it in one of our glossy magazines in Arkansas. So that's what the book is about.
Oh,
Them telling the story to this reporter who is going to then write this article to help him get elected to governor.
oh,
So
very
that's the
nice.
first book. And so you get the story of what happened, how he and Taylor got together and how their marriage fell apart. You get the story of he and Poppy and how their marriage came together. And then in the middle is the part about Ben. Ben's the love child. But the time that we meet Ben originally, um, he doesn't even know Ben exists till Ben's 11. And then when Ben tells his story, he's 22. He's working on a master's degree out in California in Malibu. I don't say the name of the college, but if you look up Malibu colleges, you can probably figure it out. He's doing a master's in political science. And one day he's in Napa and he falls in love with this brilliant, gifted, and talented girl who's Mensa level IQ, Ella. And they fall in love. And that book is called The Non-Negotiable. So the second book is their story. And there's a
Mm.
little sliver of it, their story in the Carrington Affairs, but then they have their own book, which is book two. And he brings her back to Arkansas. She's set up, she's supposed to gotten a free, she's already graduated from college by 19. And she has a free ride to graduate school in Michigan to major in hydrology and sustainability because she wants to go back to Napa and run a Gold Star winery. And so she ends up in Arkansas. And most people may not know this, but Arkansas is known for agriculture. And so when she comes here, she's actually able to participate in a soil study and use some of those qualities. But it's a very different lifestyle. And she's whose career are they going to follow? He's going to law school. He wants to be a politician like Daddy. She wants to go back to California. How are they going to work that out? That's the crux of book two. Book three is the Dirty Birds Book Club. And over all of this, and I don't know how it is in your neck of the woods, but down here, small towns, we have a bunch of mayors, but our old women run the cities. Listen, these
Mm.
old birds, they run our small towns. And Edna Stone is the old bird that runs Cersei in this book, in the my book stories. And she tells the story of her five marriages and how she became the matriarch of Cersei. And so what she comes to, she's in her 80s and she's decided it's not enough to just exist. She wants to really live. And to do that, she establishes a new book club. And it's made up of all these characters from Ella all the way down of women of different ages. And they discuss books and how books impact their life. And in doing so, they each tell their story to each other. So that kind of wraps up the series. And that'll be it
Oh,
this summer.
oh, wow. That is neat. So
Mhm.
you got this small town flavor, strong women, strong Southern women, right?
Mhm.
Now, in these kind of stories, though, you got to have food. Do you mention any of the Southern food?
I do. And actually, my sister-in-law is a cordon bleu chef, and she and I are working on a book club, a cookbook called the
Ooh.
Dirty Birds Book Club.
Oh, that's
And
perfect.
And yeah, so that, because I don't know if you're in a book club, I'm in five. And I love when I host book club to have food and drinks and things from the novel so that we can, kind of have memorabilia from it and kind of talk about it. So yes, every time in the books, inside each book, when they meet at the different months, there are food that goes with each book. And so I have written short stories and they will be released very soon that actually the readers can read ahead of time so that when they're reading the Dirty Birds Book Club, they will already know the short story that the characters are reading.
Oh, that's smart. I love that. Yeah, I mean, when you talk about Southern culture, you've got to mention the food. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness, it just has to. So, what is your favorite Southern food, if you can narrow it down?
Well, I am allergic to wheat, but when I could eat wheat and I can eat it sometimes if I can find it gluten free, I love seafood. I'm absolutely like a seafood fiend. So of course I love fried shrimp and I'll have oysters, any kind of fish, fried fish, catfish.
Mm.
Love catfish. So anything like that. I love hush puppies. I rarely get to eat hush puppies because they're very hard to find that are not got some wheat in them. Um, I also am, I grew up, my mother is a very traditional Southern cook. So we had, you know, lots and lots of chicken fried steak and country fried steak and chicken fried chicken. And of course, I love all that. Mashed potatoes and gravy, mac and
Ooh,
cheese, fried okra, fried squash. I mean, it's all fried. Let me just tell you,
of
it is
course,
all fried.
of course.
Um, And of course, I didn't know that I was celiac. I didn't know that I was allergic to wheat until I was in my late 40s.
Mm,
And then I understood why I'd been an asthmatic my whole life. And my son was an asthmatic. And we realized that it was all from food allergies. So for the last probably 15 years of my life, I have not eaten any wheat and have been so much healthier just from giving up wheat. But I didn't know.
wow. Yeah, you didn't know. And so much of that food, like you said, has it. So all the breading and everything.
And I'm a huge like give me all the pecan pie, give me lemon icebox pie, key lime pie. I mean, I love it all. And I can eat very often. I can eat the tops of them, but I can't eat the crust
Oh.
unless somebody is kind enough to make a gluten-free crust, which sometimes people do. But certainly, church is a big part of the Southern culture, and so after church we have potluck or whatever. I
Mm.
really rarely can eat anything from any of those places because you just don't know what people are putting in the food.
That's true. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that breaks my heart though, because there's so much wonderful food out there in that culture. Whoo boy. But as with your cookbooks, are you going to provide those recipes that
Oh,
are gluten free?
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm going to have to give that out to my sister-in-law. She's going to be doing the bulk of that with me because I'm a okay cook. Um, I I just about 10 years ago kind of quit cooking and I focused on other things. So my husband picked it up and he's a fabulous cook, but my sister-in-law is an incredible chef. She's incredible.
Mm.
So I will definitely defer to her. And we will spend some time sitting down and writing all of the different foods, menus out and cooking them and taking pictures of them. I'm excited for all that.
Oh, that's a great idea. How wonderful. Well, where can readers get in touch with you? Do you have a website?
I do. It's susangooch.com, which is on your screen, I think. And also, I am on every social media that you can come up with. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Clapper, Lemon, X, TikTok. It's all under Susan Gooch Author. And you can get to me that way or susangooch.com. And you can find my books on Amazon or at any of your local bookstores. You can ask them to order it for you. They would love you. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, the Carrington Affairs is free. So
Ooh.
don't miss your opportunity. Go out there, download it, and give it a shot. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Fantastic. And so, yeah, head over to susangooch.com where you can learn more about her and see her books right there. And can they contact you? Do you have a newsletter that they can sign up for?
I actually don't have a newsletter yet. I've thought about that. I have been so busy trying to write all these short stories and get this third book done that I honestly, that'll be three books and six short stories in less than 2 years.
Wow.
But instead of doing a newsletter, I do every couple of days on Instagram. Y'all have to read this. It's a series where I promote other people's books. So if
Okay.
you're a writer out there and you're hearing this and you want me to read your book, send me a link to it so I can read it and I'll review it for you. Um, but I spend a lot of time on that. I did not know how much time social media took. Like,
Mm.
I thought the hard part was writing the book. Ha, ha, ha. No, the hard part is marketing the book. So
Mm.
that's a lot harder to do. But the newsletter's on the to-do list. It just hadn't happened yet.
Okay. All right. Well, folks, head over to susangooch.com to see her beautiful book covers. I love them, to learn more
Thank
about
you.
her and the bookstore and everything. And that way you can learn. And when the next book comes out and the short stories come out, you will be up to date. Also, head over to Amazon and follow Susan too. And they always send you an email when the next book is released. So that's what I love about Amazon. They always let me know, hey, this author just released a book. So yeah, head over to Amazon and follow Susan. Well, Susan, this has just been so wonderful to get to know you. We have so much in common. I love that, you have such a teacher's heart and a writer's heart. Very inspirational story too for wannabe authors to listen to, how you persevered, and I love that. But thank you. I know you're really busy, so I appreciate you taking time to chat with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the opportunity to get to talk about my new babies, my books, because they are just like your children.
Wasn't that fun to listen to Susan Gooch talk about her books, the Carrington series, and her life story, and the fact that she was a writing teacher and now she's a published author? I love that. So inspirational. And I hope that you've been encouraged too, because she didn't give up. She kept going, persevering. dealing with a child who is sick and moving a lot and raising her kids, she still wanted to be an author. And you can do it too. Overcome those obstacles. If it's your calling, if you've got that story that someone out there needs to read, you've got to keep going. Okay? So try and write something every day. Try and post about your writing on social media every day. And most of all, I thank you for listening today. Until next time, God bless.